So here we are at the Crystal Point Studio, Clear Point Crystal Studio. I don't even know where I am.
Clear
And
Point Crystal Studio.
you. And I am Deborah Colleen Rose with Lou Ann Morris, and we're doing Herb Talk, and it's sponsored by Herbal Lou Apothecary. And
Yes.
Lulu, I like Lulu.
It wouldn't be, you wouldn't be the first to call me that.
I swear to God, I do not have anything in my coffee today, but I cannot put two words together right. We're talking about cloves. The only thing I know about cloves is clove cigarettes. Before we get started, wait, I forgot. I have to do this. Lulu says I have to. This is our FDA disclaimer. The products and statements made about specific products have not been evaluated by the United States Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. All information provided or any information contained or in any product label or packaging is for informational purposes only, is not intended as a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professional. You should not use the information given for diagnosis or treatment of any health problems. Always consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new vitamins, supplements, diet, or exercise program, before taking any medication, or if you ever suspect you might have a health problem. In other words, we're not diagnosing you. We're not treating you. Go see your damn doctor. There.
Now, once you've been diagnosed, I can take whatever symptoms or diagnosis and try to help you with your symptoms. And the other thing is, a lot of people try to go out and forage in the wild. I don't recommend that unless you've been trained to do that, because there's so many lookalike plants out there that are not good for you. They can poison you, and you don't want that. No, you don't want that. So I'm going to talk about cloves. Syzygium aromaticum is the genus and the species. It's an evergreen tree. It's cultivated worldwide. Do you have me on share screen?
Well, let me see. I thought I did. Okay, where's that? Where is that now available?
So trees can grow like 26 to 39 feet. They have large leaves. They have the little flowers on the ends of where the leaves come together. They're grouped in clusters. The flower buds have a pale green hue. They gradually turn green and then brown as they age.
All right, you should be able to share now.
Okay, so
Your
they actually have a red hue in between the green and the brown. And when they're dried, they're ready to harvest when they're red. And then they're dried, and what you see is, oh, fiddlesticks. I want to share this. Can you see that?
Yep.
And this is a clove tree. There are several. There's some over to the left over there. But that's what the tree looks like. And let me see if I can then, yes. And then the little.
So what do they use? Part of the tree do they use? Is it the leaves, the bark?
Oh, fiddlesticks. Hang on. No, they use the. Can you see the second one?
No, it's
No.
still
Okay. Hang on. I don't know where my a new share. So this is the end of the leaves. You can see how waxy the leaves look, and see the little red part. Those are the clusters of the flowers. And they're at this point, when they're red, it's when they're harvested. I want to show you another close-up of the flower itself, and a new share. So this is when they're green. they're green. They have that little tiny fluorescence on top of it. And then they go from the green to the red. And when they're red, then they're harvested. And then where is the final results here? This is what you see in your pantry.
Still have the flour.
I'm coming.
Okay.
So this is what you see in your pantry. This is what you typically think of when you think of cloves.
Right.
So the big tree, and then where at the ends of the leaves, or the where the clusters come from, that was the first one I showed you. So they go from that green color to the red color. When they're red, they're pulled off the tree and harvested, and then they're dried. And the dried one is what you see here in this share. That's what we use, and in culinary, to anytime we need, or we do it in drinks and things in the wintertime. Mulled cider has that in it. It's used in all kinds of like Asian, African, Mediterranean, Middle East, Mexican. It's used in teas with spices, in cookies and cakes. The chemical that imparts the taste is called eugenol, eugenol. And this is also the chemical that's effective for the use of clove. Clove oil can be used to alleviate pain in your teeth. It's also, I don't know if you remember me telling you when I was talking about cinnamon, that cinnamon is something that you can use for yeah.
Alzheimer's. You can use cinnamon for Alzheimer's.
Yeah, no. Mouthwashes, well, they also use clove in natural mouthwashes. So that essential oil, if you have a toothache and you'll put it on a little Q-tip or a piece of cotton and put it right where your toothache is, that will numb the pain of your toothache.
I wonder why they started making clove cigarettes. What do you think the point of that was?
Because they could grind it up and smoke it.
That just seems like a weird thing to do.
Well, people experiment. So the other important nutrients in cloves is magnesium, or I'm sorry, manganese and vitamin K. It's also high in antioxidants. The antioxidants are the eugenols that we think of. Cloves are kind of pungent. Cloves can also stop the free radicals because of the eugenol. It's actually 5 times more effective than vitamin E in stopping radicals in your body. And radicals are something that can develop into cancer cells or cause your cells to go crazy and be cancerous. So there are 6 medicinal uses that are starting to be explored for cloves. It may protect against cancer because of the eugenol and how it can decrease the free radicals. So it's said to, the test tube studies they've done, stops the growth of the tumors and promotes cell death in cancer cells. If they used clove oil, it was in concentrated amounts, and it caused 80% of esophageal cancers to die. So that's a good thing, because they've started researching more esophageal cancers. And it also, in this test tube study, they found that the eugenol, which is the chemical that decreases free radicals, promoted cell death in cervical cancer cells.
Wow.
So they are starting to use more and more herbs, and they're chemical compounds to do some research. It's just that they're not doing enough scientific research to be used in cancer studies. So in these studies, it was very, very concentrated amounts of clove extract, clove oil, and eugenol, because they, they can take that component out of the herb and concentrate it. But just I want to remind people that if they think they're going to take components of the clove and concentrate it, that concentrated amounts of clove, the eugenol, the chemical, is toxic and it can cause liver damage. So, further research is needed, and you don't need to be doing that sort of research for yourself. Let's leave that to the professionals.
Are there any side effects to cloves?
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
So cloves can kill bacteria. It's very antibacterial. The most common ones are E. coli and Streptococcus mitis, the things that cause cavities in your mouth. It's particularly great for gum disease, the clove oil. They also make mouthwash from tea tree oil, cloves, and basil that they tested on 40 people, and they used this mouthwash for 21 days, and they showed improved gum health. So this was for gum disease. It also reduced the amount of plaque and bacteria in the mouth. And of course, that's what brushing our teeth does. But if you have a tendency toward gum disease, you could probably find this herbal mouthwash at Sprouts or Whole Foods and just use it in between brushing your teeth, and it would really help. The third improvement is in liver health. An animal study was found that eugenol, that's the chemical, and clove oil decreased inflammation, decreased the oxidative stress, because that's one of the things that we combat, the vitamins we take combat against oxidative stress, and so does eugenol. So it improved liver function in rats. Yeah, none of these are human trials. None of these are human trials yet. So it actually improved fatty liver disease.
Can I say something real quick with these medical tests? I just want to the point is that, the testing is important, obviously, but there are a lot of things on the pharmaceutical market that have never been tested on humans. Mm-hmm. For instance, in the mental health industry, we have all kinds of mood stabilizers and anti-anxiety medications and depressants that we give to children that have never been studied or tested on children. So when they say practicing medicine, that is the most honest statement they've ever made. We are out there dosing all of these children and teenagers, and it's never been studied. It's never been tested. They've never done any kinds of, comparisons or anything else. And so these doctors just throw medicines at these kids.
And that's why I say most of the herbs I talk about, they've been used for thousands of years by shamans and healers and herbalists.
By good old country women,
yes. And that's how we know
how. I remember things my grandmother did. She would give us elderberry syrup. And my grandfather drank peach brandy for his cough. And Mogan David. I used to think Mogan David was medicine, not wine.
Well, I think that was given more to children instead of the whiskey, but whiskey, lemon, and honey when you're coughing. That was
I got hot toddies as a child, and my dad swore by them, and I said, Dad, I don't know if they worked or not, but the bottom line was, because you made them so strong, we just passed out,
Yeah. Passed out and got lots of rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another study that is reversing liver cirrhosis. in cloves. And here's another study that the levels of enzymes that were involved in detoxification are often a marker of liver disease, and eugenol fights these enzymes. So let's see. Because cloves are high in antioxidants, it may prevent liver disease. But there's no indication of how much you would have to take. So I don't recommend that you just willy-nilly, you need to go to an herbalist, to someone who practices with herbs to help you if you have any kind of liver disease, because then it can actually damage your liver if you take too much. Cloves may also regulate blood sugar. Once again, animal studies, they did it in mice, and it was nigericin, which is another chemical in cloves, increased the secretions of insulin and improved the function of cells in the pancreas. That's where your insulin comes from, is the pancreas cells.
So what does an herbalist usually use cloves for? If I went to see an herbalist, I happen to know one.
Well, I use it in my elderberry syrup, and I have used it in my throat spray because it is antibacterial. It helps with anything that's going on inside your mouth. And I would recommend finding the mouthwash that's cloves, basil, and cinnamon. Oh, no, it wasn't cinnamon. What was it? Oh, looking back in my cards, tea tree oil. Tea tree oil is very antibacterial. So I almost guarantee you they have some sort of mouthwash at the health food stores with cloves and cinnamon and basil and tea tree oil. So
there's a Jason mouthwash that is got cinnamon and clove in it. So you were right about the cinnamon.
Yeah.
And it's got tea tree oil as well.
So it may help reduce stomach ulcers simply because it helps the gastric mucus. And because it's antibacterial, it can help kill Helicobacter pylori, which is the bacteria that can cause ulcers. I mean, many things can cause ulcers. That's just one thing. So the bottom line is that cloves have the potential for many health benefits, and they're most effective when they're included in a healthy, balanced diet. In other words, include them with your food. So, of course, we really need more and more research done, not on rats, mice, or we need some human trials, and it's very difficult sometimes to get the proper human trial. The double blind is the recommended way to get the best approval, because you have two groups. That's the double part. And the blind part is the groups don't know whether they're getting the chemical or not. So one would have the eugenol and one would not have the eugenol. So one would have the chemicals of the clove and one wouldn't. And then they would have to be more specific about what they were looking for. In other words, are they treating the gum disease, or are they treating the liver? And they have to designate maybe even different groups about strength of the oils. So in folk medicine, they're used for their analgesics, which is what I told you about the toothache. It can really, if you put it on a clove oil on a Q-tip or cotton swab or whatever, and put it on where your tooth hurts, it will help deaden that pain. And it's antibacterial qualities. It's usually just used for the sore throats, headaches, gum disease, toothaches. You can also make a tea. if you take a teaspoon and put it in 8 ounces of boiling water and steep it 3 to 5 minutes, it has a very strong flavor. So you should probably add sweetener of your choice. And then you can add anything else you want, like cinnamon, nutmeg, any spice, any flavor. I like to use Constant Comment tea. It's an orange spicy flavor. And then I add whatever, like yesterday I made turmeric. I took my turmeric and sliced it up and made a big cup of turmeric water with boiling water, and then I steeped it for 15 minutes. And then I add half to my cup, and then I add my Constant Comment tea bag and more boiling water just to process the tea bag.
So if you're going to use the clove, you're going to want to grind it up, though. You're not going to just use the little stem thing for tea, right?
No, I would use the stem. That's why it says steep it 3 to 5 minutes, because remember, anything with roots, and this is very hard. If you've ever had cloves in your hand, they're very tough, except for the little bloom,
Right.
the bud on the end. So I would steep it 5 minutes and let all the constituents come out, which the eugenol, and you should be able to see little oil drops floating around on top. Then you
So
drain.
if you use something like this, like, fresh herbs or dried herbs and spices and stuff, can you use them more than once when you're making tea, or you use them once and you're done?
Really, it should be once and done.
Okay.
They lose their potency after that. What else? Oh, just remember okay, here are the cautions. You shouldn't use it when you're pregnant or breastfeeding. People who are taking medications to control diabetes or hypoglycemia or bleeding disorders should only use clove products under the supervision of a doctor. So eugenol is the compound in cloves and clove oil, and can affect your blood clotting and blood sugar levels. So you have to be careful how much you use. And that goes back to, don't start taking any supplements unless you have double checked how it will interact with your prescription medication. It's just not prudent for you to do that.
Yeah, but don't you find this a pertinent question? If they're able to issue warnings on when not to use these things, if they know enough about the subject to say, don't use it for when you're doing this and don't do this, and couldn't they turn around and also say, but go ahead and use it for this, and start making stronger recommendations on when to use this? It seems to me like if you go to Google or, to any source of information using alternative medications, they always tell you when you absolutely don't want to do this. But they
Yes.
never say you absolutely do want to do this. Where's the yin to the yang on this? Does that
Well,
make sense?
yes, I understand. So here's my recommendation. If you feel called to use an herb, consult an herbalist.
Makes sense.
You really need to find someone that can either tell you off the top of their head, which is very difficult. Do you know how many herbs are out there? I mean, wow. I just started a class to dive deeper into herbs, and we're going to study one herb for 10 months.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
And so I'm having a difficult time deciding which one I want to study. And because there's so many out there. So do not be surprised when the herbalist says, I need to do some research and get back with you. Do not be surprised, because not everything is off the top of their head.
Well, and most people are not lucky like me to have a resident herbalist on staff like I. So tell people how to get a hold of you and how to find you.
Okay, you can email me at herballu1105@gmail.com. That's HERBALLU1105 @gmail.com. You can also look at my website, which is www.herbal-lu.com. And my phone number is on there, and I think my email is on there, and I think there's a spot to click on if you want to leave a message. I haven't looked at my I haven't looked at my website in a while. So
Maybe you should go look at it.
I actually need to go and make some changes there.
Or you can go to Facebook and put in the word snarky, and Luann Morris is the first person to pop up.
I do have a Facebook, facebook.com/herbalu. You can certainly add any kind of comment you want to there. It's a public site, so I'm more than
What are we going to do next? What's our next class going to be about?
ashwagandha.
Oh, I love that. Okay. We'll tell everybody goodbye, and we will
Bye, everybody.
see y'all soon.
Bye-bye.